Generally, Amtrak Cascades is actually considered one of the better rail routes in the US, particularly outside of the Northeast Corridor. That's despite it only operating a handful of services per day at speeds that are generally slower than driving. So, is Cascades actually a good rail service by worldwide standards and European standards? Or does it just look good because the US generally does rail poorly? I travelled on it to find out. Cascades operates from Eugene, Oregon to Vancouver, BC, passing through Salem, Portland, Vancouver and Washington, which is slightly confusing, Tacoma, Seattle, Everett, and Bellingham. No services operate over the entirety of the route, with 6 services per day covering Portland to Seattle, and 2 services per day serving the rest of the route. We use Cascades to travel between Portland and Seattle, and then onwards to Vancouver, the Canadian one that is. So unfortunately, Eugene and Salem missed out. Better luck next time. We started the trip at Portland Station, and as this is Amtrak, we had to arrive at the station an hour early for no particular reason. We then had to queue up to be shown where to board the train. Honestly, I know how to get on a train. I've done it countless times before. Maybe one day Amtrak will learn how to run trains normally, but I don't hold out much hope. It's a bit of a mess. Thought they'd be a bit more modern looking. End up on the wrong one, in San Francisco. As I said, the trains weren't the most modern. The Horizon carriages date from the late 80s, and a couple of months after we travelled on them, they were withdrawn from service due to widespread corrosion issues. One thing that Amtrak do get right is comfort. The seats are well padded, and there's plenty of legroom, or at least there is for my short legs. I definitely look fairly comfortable here. There's some water, some trees, mainly trees. All these trees. Bridge. I've really got this down. I don't really know what else to say. Say something witty. Say something witty.
Something witty.
As I mentioned in that informative commentary, the view between Portland and Seattle was mainly trees with the odd river and bridge, so if you enjoy looking at trees, this next section of video is for you. giant insect will devour us all. It's as big as the houses.
Like intimate circular thing where everyone was around him, so it's not like a huge tour.
I, for one, welcome our new insect oval. Eve quickly ran off to hide. I mean, give everyone a tour of the bathroom. Probably about as good as you'd expect from a 40-year-old train bathroom.
Fresh air smoke break stop. If you would like to step off the train here, you may do so. If you choose to smoke, please move away from all other passengers and open train doors. We are running late, however, we will try to leave as closely to 6 p.m. as we can.
Smoke breaks on a train is a concept I'm glad we don't have in the UK. After around 3.5 hours, we arrived at Seattle Station, and as the guard mentioned, we were late, but only 20 minutes or so on time for Amtrak. These views of Seattle would probably be a lot more stunning if Amtrak cleaned their train windows. As we arrived into Seattle Station, we caught a glimpse of the newer Talgo coaches that are used on Cascade services. These were built in 2013 and would form our service from Seattle to Vancouver. These trains have passive tilt, allowing them to go round corners more quickly, but as far as I'm aware, they don't use it, and journey times are the same as non-tilt trains. After a few days in Seattle, we were back at the very stylish Amtrak station to travel to Vancouver. What do you reckon here? Well, you don't think it's rising or crime? After being told off by Eve for doing the normal thing of choosing which coach to sit in, we moved to our Amtrak specified coach, and the journey got underway. We sat on the left-hand side of the train to sample the amazing views of the Puget Sound. Before getting to the Canadian border and going through passport controls, I made my way to the buffet car to get breakfast. On offer was a pretty bland breakfast burrito, which suggested to me that Amtrak's not known for its food. I did also have a marshmallow Rice Krispie bar, which is probably about as good as it gets on Amtrak. Back at my seat, and the views were just as amazing. The route was great for wildlife. We saw seals, bald eagles, dolphins, or porpoises. Unfortunately, filming those from a moving train wasn't easy, and this is about as good as the footage got. That's definitely a dolphin, and not a smudge on the lens. After a few hours of travel, we slowly made our way into the Vancouver suburbs. Here we stopped for 10 minutes to let a freight train pass. This gave me time to record the Vancouver SkyTrain on this impressive bridge. The crawl into Vancouver really highlighted some of the key issues with the Cascades service. The Seattle to Vancouver section is just too slow to compete with other modes of transport. The train's 4-hour journey time is an hour and 15 minutes slower than the car journey time, and 20 minutes slower than the bus journey time. Train is also the most expensive option. Seattle to Vancouver is also served by seaplanes that travel from relatively central Seattle to downtown Vancouver in under an hour. So yes, the train is comfortable and the views are amazing, and that was great for me as a tourist. But are regular travellers that bothered about having a better view when other modes of transport are quicker and cheaper? Probably not. The train competes better with cars and buses on the Portland to Seattle section of the route. The train is quicker than bus by 10 minutes and only around 20 minutes slower than the average car journey time. However, there are still slow sections of line, such as between Portland and Vancouver, Washington, and the maximum speed of the service is around 80 miles per hour. For a train service between two major cities in the richest country on earth, that's pretty poor. Still, that is quick compared to the Seattle to Vancouver section, which has large sections of line closer to 50 miles per hour or below. As the train finished the crawl into Vancouver Pacific Central, I reflected on a journey that I'd thoroughly enjoyed as a tourist, but would probably hate as a regular user. Cascades certainly has potential, but still seems similar to most US rail services, more of a novelty than a highly valued transport service. One final bonus of Cascades was that the passport process was done on the train, which is not the case for other cross-border services I've used, such as Toronto to New York. So we were quickly through customs and into the impressive station building. A nice way to end our first trip on Cascades.